We're general management consultants, and we've developed a set of proprietary tools, many of which most consultants have: strategic planning, board development, project planning, and process improvement. My partner and I have very good synergy in terms of product development, so we think we have world-class products, and we've registered those, trademarked them so that we own them. And in addition to that, I do coaching and reorganizations and other things of that sort. But generally, it's tools to get organizations to a higher level of performance. That's what we're trying to do. Sure. Well, there's birth to begin with, and there are a lot of ideas that never get birthed because people don't want to take the risk or they can't get the capital. So then you have infancy, and infancy is all hands on deck to meet the mortgage and the rent payment and the payroll. And that's a very chaotic, scrambling time, and you basically do whatever it takes. I have a friend of mine who got involved in a venture here in Anchorage, and his grandiose idea was to be the owner of the business and so on and so forth. He was doing the laundry for about 8 months. So in an infant business, you have to do whatever it takes because you can't afford bringing on other people to do those things. If you make it through that, which about 10 to 20% do, then you go into what's called go-go mode in the literature, which is, well, I successfully started this business. I can do this. I can expand from grocery store to trucking, or I can go into, and you start, the entrepreneur energy gets overconfident and starts getting away from what is the core knitting of the business. And a lot of organizations die during that period. It's growing, gone. The most critical period, which is another question I know you're going to ask, is the next stage, which is adolescence, which is when the business kind of grows up. And that's where the entrepreneur, who is all about creativity, risk-taking, change, having something new and different every day, which creates inherent chaos in the business, becoming more disciplined. So I now pay attention to systems, policies, how people are effectively utilized, structures, all the things that entrepreneurs find incredibly boring and don't place a lot of importance in. So most organizations fail to get through that adolescence period. This is why Apple threw out Steve Jobs, right? Because he had no appreciation or discipline for those things. And they brought in somebody who did have those things, was in charge of building those systems at PepsiCo. But he didn't have Jobs' entrepreneurial skills. So they got the systems, but they killed the entrepreneurial energy. And they finally brought Jobs back, and in his second iteration, he did have an appreciation and understanding of those things and allowed himself to be disciplined by those systems, and it led to Apple's great success. So those are the major stages you get to, and you get to a condition called prime, where you just keep on trucking. It's a very elusive place to get to and to sustain. Oh, yes. And prime, which is the ideal state, we've probably been in for milliseconds or days. It's very hard to get there and to sustain it, but we've been in that situation at times. And then the problem is, if you're doing that and you're growing, then you almost have to go back through adolescence again, because all those systems need to be redefined and rethought to get to the scale that the business has now achieved. So you never get there and stay there. I think the most difficult stage was being willing to even confront adolescence. I am by nature, I love change, and I get bored easily if things don't change. And we used a diagnostic instrument years and years ago where the number one problem in the business was me. What the staff were telling me, it's great that you have new ideas every day, but do you understand what the downstream effect of that is? Our life is complete chaos. I mean, we haven't even stabilized the idea you had several months ago, and now you're off into something new. So the most difficult thing for me was to actually respect and defer to the need to put in adolescents. It's kind of the Steve Jobs problem, not to put myself in that category, but it was the same dynamic. And then after that, it's actually it's not stuff I like to do. I don't like writing policy. I don't like, writing job descriptions. I can do it. I do it well. I teach people how to do it, but I'd rather do other things. So it's really having the discipline to do what the business needs. Good question. Well, I'm assuming we're past the role of do I have a good idea or not. So I'm going, okay, I've got a good idea, and I've gotten people to invest in it, either myself or others. So now what do I need to get through infancy? I think you need to be able to sell. I think you need to be able to produce what you promise. And then you need to be able to be smart with your money. So sales, production, and finance, I think, are the three key things you've got to have to launch. Yeah, I think that you want to look for people that have passion for what you want to do, that can join you on a sense of mission as opposed to hold a job. Somebody looking for a job doesn't create the kind of culture, at least that I want to play in, and not the one that most people that I work with like to play in. So I think increasingly feeling a sense of mission and purpose, and that what we do has some benefit to society as a whole. So I would look for people that are hungry for a mission and are fit with the mission or purpose that you have. I'd look for people who like to team and collaborate as opposed to not, and not everybody is a fit with that. And I would look to people who collaborate well, can play team as opposed to individual ball. So those are important things to me. I think ask what they're looking for from work. Ask what are the things that have really annoyed you about the places you've worked before. And that will tell you whether that person's values and satisfiers are fit with your culture. I'd start with that. To me, the right person is more important than the right skills, because I can always give them the skills. So somebody that wants to learn and is committed to contribute is more important. I was astounded when I was in grad school. I looked at the class ahead of me, this is in business school, and the gentleman that got the highest job offer from a Fortune 500 company had the lowest grade average in the school. Barely made it through, that close to flunking out. And I looked at that and I said, that's fundamentally unfair. I mean, I'm working hard, I'm trying to get good grades. What's up with this? Life is unfair. And what I came to realize later is that was really smart. Why did they hire this guy? Well, he was handsome. He was a successful athlete. He was the captain of his basketball team. He was coaching the freshman team while going through graduate school. And they said to him in the interview, you've got all the qualities of leadership, you've demonstrated it. Those are the soft qualities of who you are. We'll teach you business. I think if you don't see much laughter in the workplace, it's not a good sign. I think if you find people avoiding responsibility, it's not a good sign. So when you talk to people about what are the problems or challenges you're facing, if they always assign the responsibility of that to somebody else, that's an unhealthy culture. A healthy culture is, if I see a problem, I feel some ownership of the problem because it impacts me and I'm going to be part of the solution, as opposed to waiting for the chain of command or somebody else to deliver a solution to me. If you love what you do, which I think nobody should be doing anything they don't love to do. I mean, my son and I were dialoguing about, well, what should I do? And I said, you need to find something that you love to do. Don't worry about what it pays you, because if you love doing it, you're going to become very good at it. And if you become good at anything, you're going to do well. I mean, I have an associate who developed an approach to janitorial work that was 50% more efficient than anybody else, okay? He loved doing that kind of work. and he's turned it into a multi-gazillion dollar business. So if you love what you do, you're going to find your way to success. So begin with that, and then being successful at what you love to do creates that happiness. So I see them as almost inseparable.